This is a case study video project based off of a scenario that many first year and any teachers will experience. This one is going to be based off of a student using their cell phone in class during lecture time. While you're going over a lesson on the board, you notice a student with his head down for long periods of time. After walking closer, you see a phone under the student's desk. This is the third instance this week where the student has been caught using their phone during lecture time. Other students near this student's desk start to notice. You begin to worry that this will become a problem with other students as well, if you don't find a solution soon. Ineffective response number one. The teacher is at the front of the classroom teaching when she notices a student with his head down. She begins to think something is wrong until she notices he's on a cell phone. Andrew, the teacher says very loudly, I thought we talked about this before about you being on your phone during class. This response would be ineffective because it increases distractibility for other students by stopping the lesson and causing a scene. It's also ineffective because it would cause the student to either shut down or yell back in response and be embarrassed. This response would not create a positive classroom culture. The teacher yells at the student, which would make the other students feel scared to mess up. You never want to manage a classroom based on fear. Okay, class. Next, we're going to talk about whole numbers. Andrew, please bring your phone to me now. You know the rule about cell phones during class. This response would be ineffective because it still stops the lesson abruptly and causes a scene. The teacher has now caused a stimulus bound effect. She got distracted by Andrew's phone and has now drawn attention from the entire class to Andrew. It will be hard to get students back on track when the conversation between the teacher and Andrew concludes. In this situation, even though she was nicer in her tone when addressing Andrew, she still called him out in front of the entire class, which would still be seen as embarrassing to the student. Effective response number one. Okay, class. Next, we will practice working with whole numbers. I want you to get into groups of three and do this worksheet on dividing multi-digit whole numbers. Now that the class is busy working on the assignment, the teacher walks over to Andrew's desk and asks him quietly to come back to her desk with his phone. Okay, Andrew, we have to talk about this cell phone use. Now, I know we've gone over this procedure before, but I have it printed out here for you so we can go over it again. Now, you do understand that we cannot be using our phones during classroom lecture time, correct? This is the third time this week that I've seen you on it, and we need to do something to make sure this doesn't happen again, all right? Do you now understand the procedure? Okay. Leave your phone here and please return to your desk and start your project. This response is effective because it helps with smoothness as there are no disruptions to the lesson. This response helps model the class expectations as well. One of the expectations being respect each other. You are respecting the student's privacy by not making a spectacle out of the situation. Therefore, the students will be more willing to listen to what you have to say. The student is able to reflect on what he did and understand the consequences that resulted from his actions. Groups of three and do this worksheet. This wouldn't happen if the student was embarrassed and felt defensive. The teacher makes sure to walk up and down the rows, staying in close proximity to the students as they work on the assignment. Towards the end of the activity, the teacher prompts the students to look at the board as she reviews the cell phone policy with them. Great job on your work today, class. You all worked really well and you stayed focused on the assignment. Before the bell rings, I want to review the cell phone policy with you again. Cell phones may not be used during lecture time for any reason. This response is effective because it keeps the focus on the lesson while still addressing the behavior at a later time. The teacher uses proximity to immediately stop the behavior without drawing attention of the other students. By reviewing the policy with the whole class, the teacher is using consistency and doesn't point out one student by doing so. The teacher avoids causing a dangling by waiting until the end of class to address cell phones rather than bringing it up during the lesson. This also encourages accountability from the students. They can't say they didn't know the policy if caught with their phones and must take responsibility for their actions. Overall, this response is better because it keeps the class going, it doesn't embarrass the student, and it solves the behavior. The project taught me a lot about classroom management and showed me areas I need to work on. I think my biggest takeaway is that you have to use your whole body to manage. Sitting at the desk and scanning the class won't cut it. I have to use my presence by using proximity, my eyes and ears by using withedness, and my feet to effectively keep students out of the green zone where they are more likely to get distracted and not pay attention. A good classroom management plan is the best offense for behavior issues.